Tilman, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to y'all today.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and segment it, if you wouldn't mind. Is the pain mostly in urban areas? Is it suburban? Is it at the high end? Is it at the mid or lower end? Where?
Well, where it's really happening right now, Tyler, is that you're having conferences canceled everywhere. And in your big urban, let's just say steakhouses, you're definitely feeling it. In your tourist areas, you're feeling it. Where you're not feeling it is in your suburban restaurants. But where you're feeling it is your Del Frisco's in New York by you guys, by your Mastro's in New York by you guys, by your Martin's in New York by you guys. But yet then out in the suburbs, you're okay. And then the regional casinos are okay because you're staying local, but then you get into Vegas, and Vegas is really starting to slip now.
So what are you doing to mitigate the damage from this fall off in business? Are you having to restrict hours, cut back on hours, tell people not to come in? And how does that ripple through the system then to the people who really feel it because they may be making really a kind of a subsistence wage?
Well, what happens, and it's a shame, but it's the only way to combat it, is that you've got to protect your labor. And if you don't have the revenues, if you're a restaurant that was doing $20,000 a day and now you're doing $15,000 a day, the way to stay profitable, because remember, when I say I'm off $1 million a day in revenue, that's on a base of $12 million a day in sales, in restaurant sales. Okay, but remember, that last million in sales is your most profitable
sales.
Profit. It's just like any business. That's where your heavy profit is. So if you don't cut expenses, and what can you cut? We're not going to cut the quality of the product. Now, so you can only cut labor. So you've got to watch labor. Now, what is going to happen is the old supply and demand. Just like you're starting to see seafood drop, you're starting to see beef drop, you're going to start seeing produce drop because they're not selling as much. Well, everybody's got to get rid of their product. So if you manage your business really, really well and you can stay in that 8 to 12% off in revenue, you're going to do okay. But you don't want to go 20% off, okay? When you get to 20% off in a same-store sales, no matter what business you're in, that's when you start getting into trouble.
There's a book I read called Shut Up and Listen, and there's a chapter in there called Know Your Numbers. You just gave us the numbers, okay? You're the consumer king. You said, what was it? Tyler, help me out here with the math, all right? 12 million, what is a day in revenue? You're down $1 million, so I guess you're down about 8 to 8.5%, okay? That seems to be about the average number.
But and it moves around.
Okay. But when I look at the stock charts of many of the big restaurant companies, they're down 30 and 40% this month. So either the market, Tilman, is getting it wrong, or the market is suggesting that's where things are going to go. So what are you seeing?
Well, as we all know, the market looks into the future, and that's the crystal ball. And the market does panic, you know, with all the quick selling, and we move in herds, as we all know. But remember, we're just getting the coronavirus test out there now. We are going to find a lot more people that have this than we think have it. But what everybody needs to remember is this is not going to kill you unless you're most likely already a sickly person, and you just got to take care of yourself. There's no reason to panic, even when they announce that another 100,000 people have it, okay? People are going to get this, but people are at home with it, and you just don't take, and you don't go to work, and you don't give it to other people. You don't go to a ball game and give it to other people. Everybody just needs to take care of themselves, and we all need to have good habits right now. But more people, we're going to find out every day, have this. But we've got to go on about our lives, okay? You're not going to die from this. You can take your rarest diseases that you get in America, and not as many people are going to die from the coronavirus as die from these.
Let me get back to your business operations here. As I understand it, you do have some restaurants and different things in China. Can you talk to us about what that business is like? Give us any sense of how much China might be back online or not here?
let me just use one word, bad.
Still?
You know, it's so funny. I'm going to tell you something funny is the fact that, and it's not funny, but we were finally able to reopen a Martin's in Beijing the other day. And this has never happened in all my 30, 40 years with as many restaurants. But we opened a restaurant, and the sales for the day were zero, okay? So everything is getting better, and I think it's a good lesson for us to learn because we do hear from our people in China that things are getting better, but people are still not moving out freely like they did before. But it's good for us to see, though, that if it's better in China, we're going to hit a peak, and then it'll get better here.
You know, I know we talk, Tilman, a lot, and we spend time together in Houston about the oil price impact. And I understand that Houston is a massive city. It's well diversified. You've got MD Anderson, you've got software, you've got a consumer economy. However, oil prices have gone up and down wildly. We're now starting to enter this period where prices are just kind of remaining depressed for a long time. Nobody expects prices to move significantly higher over the next couple of years. So if we get this extended sort of slow slide in the price of oil, what do you think will happen to Houston, which is, by the way, the fastest growing large metro area in the United States and a massive economic driver for your state and for the country?
Well, I will tell you, when we managed to adjust to $50 oil, and you and I think, did a show on this a couple of years ago, and we've adjusted. Adjusting to $35 oil or $30 oil is pretty improbable because you really can't do anything to cut expenses and can't find any more technology to drill any cheaper, and basically people aren't drilling much anyway. But the biggest problem is oil companies have lots of debt, and that's the way they operate. And there's so many of your small drillers, so many of your suppliers, and it's going to be interesting for Houston. At some point, if oil sticks around $30, $35, you are going to see a problem. But we've got a great economy. We saw the jobs report, but the jobs report meant nothing because everything changed Monday morning. That is when I saw the difference. That's when everybody started canceling conferences and huge conventions. Everybody's canceling everything right now. So everybody needs to remember it's going to get worse, but then it'll get better.
Well, let's talk about something that hasn't been canceled so far, and that is NBA games. I wonder what you're seeing in terms of attendance at Rockets games or around the league. What is Adam Silver saying about whether individual teams should play in front of empty arenas or whether the league will do that league-wide? Bring us up to date there.
Well, we had a lower no-show last night than we even normally had. The only no-show was us last night against the Clippers and Rockets that was played in Houston. But our fans were all there, and like I said, a lower no-show rate than usual, which I like to see because then we're not panicking, and we shouldn't. But I don't think you ever want to play games in front of no audiences. It ever got so bad, and this is just my opinion. I would hope that we would just suspend for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. But you don't want to play games with no fans. That's never going to work. And like I said, everybody just needs to be a little better. You know, we're doing a few different things that we've never done before, of course, in our casinos and restaurants and hotels. But everybody needs to wash their hands and stay away from people that are sick. And if you're sick, you shouldn't go to work. But y'all been hearing this from everybody for weeks now, so I don't need to repeat it.
Tilman,
quick one.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think we can't overstate the reason I got involved in oil and gas was not because I love the hydrocarbon, Tilman, as you know. It's because your city and that state was so important to growing the entire economy at the depths of the Great Recession. And I think that, you know, we have to remember that a lot of people don't care what happens to oil and gas, or maybe they don't care about Texas in general, but your state has been really the economic growth driver in the country. So if we see Texas slow down, it's very possible, and Steve Leisman will confirm this, that the national data will start to come down as well.
Well, this coronavirus can bring down all the data. If people stop spending money, that's what causes everything to go awry. Because remember, we're always overbuilding, and there's always a lot of supply. But as soon as there's no demand out there for oil, for homes, for any product, that's where we get into trouble. And that's really what I'm paying attention to, because we could take a robust economy that we really do have, and let's all be smart, and let's really work hard on not panicking and let a coronavirus run our country into a recession.
Yeah, Tilman, look, it is not the flu though. It's worse, frankly, and that so we understand why people are scared, right? I mean, there are deaths, and it comes during flu season. It's hard. It's a lot for the hospital system to handle. I understand why people are concerned.
I understand why people are concerned, and I mean, I'm doing things to be safer, but at the same time, I'm still living my life. I'm going to basketball games. I'm going out to dinner. I'm not doing the rodeo is really having, which is 100,000 people a day here in Houston. It's not suffering any attendance issues right now. And hey, there's 2 Eagles concerts in town this week at the Toyota Center, and we're sold out. And I'm glad to see that people are taking precautions, but not panicking.
Yeah.
All right, Tilman, great to see you. And like you, I don't think I've ever washed my hands so much in a week as I have this week. Tilman Fertitta, thank you very much. Good to see you as always.